When you're starting a business, most entrepreneurs are focused on the financial side. What is the ROI? How many products can I sell? What can I sell this business for one day? While all of these are respectable goals, there are some special entrepreneurs who take it one step further, the ones who focus on impact. Today, I'm joined by Trevor Farnes, the CEO and co founder of Mountain Ops. Trevor and his wife once struggled with hunger and now focus on improving the lives of individuals through transformational products. But they did not stop there. They also launched the Mountain Ops initiative, Operation Conquer Hunger, to conquer hunger within the most vulnerable households in Utah, the United States, and Africa. As we sit here today, they have donated over 4 million meals to those in need. Talk about impact. Trevor, I'm excited to have you here today to share your story, your perspective on success, and much more. Welcome to the Define Success podcast.
Awesome. Well, it's a privilege to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate your time and looking forward to just unpacking all of this. And I want to start by talking about your servant's heart with what you do with your foundation. How did you start this? What inspired you to give back to the world around you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And there's a quote that's been on my mind a lot lately, and that is that you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And so, honestly, what we're doing with Operation Conquer Hunger comes because my family faced our own hunger issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're trying to do everything we can to help a mother, a father, and a child who may be struggling with a similar issue. And it started, back in 2007. My wife and I had decided to go off on our own. I'd left a good, comfortable job, but we had saved up enough to start our own business, and that was the ultimate goal that we had. And in providing for our family was that we wanted to, there was this entrepreneurial bug in my family. I've watched brothers see success in business and was following in their footsteps, and we decided to go off and try our wings. And that at times comes with great risk and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes failure, and sometimes those are the greatest opportunities to learn and to grow. And that's what we found for our situation. Two opportunities piqued our interest at that time. One was in real estate, and had I known, right around the corner in 2008, the market was going to crash and the real estate market was just going to be what it was, I would have ran the other direction. But we bought into our first real estate deals, and so we had some mountains to climb there. And then another opportunity we bought into was within a retail franchise. And instead of buying one franchise to see how it went, build a foundation and scale, we were a bit naive, very ambitious, and we decided to go all in. And we bought 7 franchises, and with that came 7 build outs of stores, 7 inventory, hiring 7 individuals to run those stores. And then the icing on the cake was that my wife and I got to sign personal guarantees on each of those locations.
Mm-hmm.
And as it seemed like as fast or faster than it took to get the business up and running, it was being closed down. We bought into this franchise, and that franchise actually got shut down about 3 to 4 months after we opened our doors. And so we were kind of a little bit out of our control. What was in my control was how big I went to in the beginning, but I decided to go big, and we paid the price a little bit for that, because there was some issues with the franchise that had to shut down, and we found ourselves in a world of hurt. Couldn't pay our mortgage, house is up for auction, and a myriad of different things, even a daughter ending up in the hospital with some health issues that created its own financial struggle for us, all at once. It just felt like the moment we wrote the check for that franchise, a trigger was pulled, and everything started to
Mm-hmm.
like crumble around us. And so during that, as a young father, my responsibilities were to provide, preside, and protect. And I started to feel like I was failing in many of those regards, especially providing just the basic needs and necessities for my children. And because the business had failed so quick, I didn't want people to know that I wasn't having the success that
Yeah.
I thought I should have had. And so ego got in the way from me reaching out to ask for help. And so we started diving into our food storage, and we started cracking our own wheat to make food last longer. And that was good because we learned some lessons, but it was hard on the bellies. I mean,
Yeah.
not all food from a food storage is going to make you feel satisfied. And so but that was on our mind all of the time. We're a faith-based family, a faith-based company at Mountain
Mm-hmm.
Ops, and we turned during those times, honestly, to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We looked at the miracles that he performed in the Bible, and we would read those on a regular basis. And one that always stood out because food was kind of at the forefront was when he took a few loaves and a few fishes and he multiplied them for the masses.
Mhm.
And my wife and I just, we had this thought that as soon as we had a few loaves and a few fishes, not when the boat came in full, but as soon as there was just a few resources to work with, we wanted to do something with them because we knew where those resources came from. And we wanted to try to multiply them. And we didn't think that it would be for the masses, but we just thought if we can do something to help somebody that's in the same position we are in now, even while we're going through it, there's an opportunity, and we're seeing it because we're that statistic that we learned about. In
Yeah.
our community here in Utah, it's 1 in 4 kids that go home on the weekends without enough food, and that was my family. And so we
Mhm.
started to have eyes to see a need that we didn't know existed before. And there's so much power in life with perspective moments where you have those experiences, you get a glimpse into something that somebody might be going through because of yourself, experiencing it. And so we made a commitment to multiply our resources, our loaves and our fishes. We weren't sure exactly how that would happen, but as we started to build businesses that had some success, we started to put some of those resources to work, and that's
Mhm.
how Operation Conquer Hunger kind of came to be. But it started with a $22 monthly payment while we were struggling, and that was a sacrifice for us. And it was feeding children in Malawi, Africa. And then we've just kind of grown along the way to where we're at today. And in June of this year, so in a few months, we will hit the 5 million meal mark.
Wow. That's such a powerful story. And just
Yeah.
going from all the struggle to now making that such a big impact. And you mentioned your faith, you mentioned the family behind you. When things weren't going well, you didn't have everything going, to plan per se. How did you get rid of those negative thoughts that came in, all the doubt, the maybe I should try something else? How did you stay the course and now get to where you are today?
Yeah, I wish that everyone who goes out on their own to try their wings in this way had a supportive spouse like I have. I mean,
Mhm.
uh, connection has been my biggest enabling and strengthening power, and it came through a connection with my wife where when I did tell her, hey, I went and interviewed and I got some job offers, and then I'd sit in the parking lot, with my hands in my head in my hands, just wondering what is the next step and should I do this, and just feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. And then I'd call my wife and she'd say, that's fine, but it's going to take you away. It's going to distract you from our goal, and that's okay. If that's the path we need to go and it takes us a little longer, then do that. But she was willing to, be resilient and grit it out and have that stick to itiveness that so many people are not willing to. And because she was always encouraging and supportive and letting me know, like, it's okay that the goal stays the same, but it's okay that we take different paths and that we find a path and we make decisions that might cause us to have to pivot. Having that type of support from my wife meant everything to me.
Yeah.
And then throughout time, it's starting to add team members to the mix that help you bear the weight of what you're going after and the mission you're trying to accomplish. And so interdependence is huge for me. It's one of our core values at Mountain Ops. But putting team members in place and building over time, even if it's slow, having people on a similar value set as you that have the same mission, but we each collectively do things that combine for a greater outcome than doing things independently has been
Mhm.
important to me. Ultimately, most importantly for me, it's been my connection to God.
Mhm.
I hands down, our number one core value at Mountain Ops is recognizing God, even in the workplace, and we try to acknowledge His hand in all things. And so, watching how He would allow something to come into my life or a person or an opportunity, whatever it is, that would help me take the next step in the right direction, and recognizing that from him. And I felt like as the more often I would recognize that, give thanks for it, I'd see more and more of those miracles along the way where the path just became a little bit more clear. The people I should work with became, ever more present in my life.
Mhm.
And I've just over time found that those connections are what matter most to me. And then ultimately, letting time do the hard work. I think so often people just want to, and I myself, I'm guilty of it. I want things to happen now and I want to see that
Yeah.
success
Mhm.
now. And so we go big, and sometimes it's go big or go home. And sometimes you go big and then you lose your home.
Yeah.
And it's not to say we shouldn't try to go big fast, but there is a process to things, especially if they're good and they're worthy of our time and attention. Then it's okay to see things through and to not look for the grass to, the greener grass, like grow the grass right where you're
Mhm.
at. It's as long as you have a mission. And I found for me, I'm a mission-driven individual. Mission-driven individuals, they can weather the storm, they can endure. In those first businesses, it was just very transactional, and I was trying to just bring in revenue for my family. As our personal finances began to struggle, and the bank accounts began to dwindle, it became more and more transaction, where I just needed something to replace that.
Mhm.
And I forgot that I'm on a mission to do something greater, and finding that mission was important. Ultimately, I found that by creating a product for my father, for his heart disease, for his neuropathy. He struggled to feel his fingers and toes because of the poor circulation, and that's how I got involved in nutrition and
Mhm.
supplementation, and started to build a product for my father. And it took a long time to grow that business, but because there was a mission behind it,
Yeah.
and some of those resources were coming in and providing food for children, like I had everything I needed. I just needed to give it time and to
Mhm.
work at it, and add people to the mix along the way, those connections that were most critical to the business.
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, that's such a great mission, and then you're helping other people on the way. There's so much benefit that comes from it. So when you decided to start the operations from that moment until today, what in your life and business has changed? Obviously, we talked a little bit about before that you got some great trips lined up this summer to Lake Powell. I'm sure there's some financial success, obviously, that comes along with it. What about you as a person, or your team as a whole? How have you guys changed due to helping others?
Oh man, what that does for an organization is so critical, and I wish that more people took advantage of that, and I recognize the retention and the value that drives in bringing a team together and keeping a team together. Um, I look at each of the individuals here, and someone will come in and they'll say, "This is my mission. This is my company," and that's how I want them to feel.
Mhm.
Like totally bought in. The values resonate well with them, and when the values resonate well, and we enhance the brand mission and opportunities, like there's no stopping a team in that regard. But building upon a mission, and having a mission driven business, it allows people to not have to compartmentalize their life. Okay, I'm coming to work for work's sake, and I'm going to make a living, and then when I go home, I really want to be involved in the community, so I'm going to try to find stuff there. And then you're exhausting your efforts trying to do that, but you've got family and you've got hobbies and on all these things. What we've tried to do here at Mountain Ops is to create a culture that's it's life. This is a
Mhm.
human experience, and I'm a simple man. I'm not the hard nosed businessman, but I'm very passionate about a mission, and principles and values drive that mission for me. They dictate how we make decisions to get to the ultimate goal and to live that mission in its fullest. And so it's kind of a university of life here at Mountain Ops, where we've got a book club every week.
Nice.
And we're studying once a quarter. We're studying a different book, and the team's leading that. It's not just everyone here is leading in some way or fashion, and then each member shares every week, their how I conquer story, the different mountains they've been challenged by in life, and the foundational principles that they grew up with that have helped them conquer more in life. And so now having this opportunity with Operation Conquer Hunger, it gives us so much purpose to come together on. And instead of just looking at a revenue number, that revenue number equals a number of meals,
Mhm.
and so we can say the goal for this year is to support this many children with this many meals. And by doing that and focusing on that, it drives the business with revenue and the
Yeah.
resource that provides those opportunities. It's just a different way of thinking about it, and looking at life, knowing that business is not my life, but it's such an incredible asset and resource to provide the opportunities that I want to in life. And yeah, we're doing some fun trips as a family that we once weren't able to afford, and we're doing some of these things, but we dedicate a large portion of what we do here at Mountain Ops. We say it's the smallest part of what we do, but it's the biggest part of who we are. And so it brings the most satisfaction. So we hold about 5 or 6 big Conquer Hunger events every year, where people gather. Sometimes it's a corporate sponsored event where somebody says to us, "Hey, we want you to come and run this event for all of our employees." So we'll come, we'll set up, we'll pack 60,000 meals in an hour and a half with those individuals. I have an opportunity to share my family's story. There's a little video we show that walks through kind of those emotional, trying times that my wife and I faced, and
Mhm.
how there were individuals that left groceries on our doorstep. And that was just, those were pivotal moments where it was like, there's individuals, they didn't know the need that we had as far as me telling them. But what I found with that quote, that you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were, without me telling certain individuals, they could see it. They could see
Yeah.
the struggle I was facing. They could see it in my eyes. They could feel it. They understood the burden I was carrying because they had been in those shoes. And so without asking for help, groceries would show up on our doorstep from individuals that I know had been through these similar experiences. And so they just knew the signs to look for. And that, when we have perspective moments like that in life, I feel a calling, I feel a stewardship to take responsibility for those feelings and those opportunities to return, the favor and to step forward and serve. And so it's been incredible for our team to come together and hold these big events, but then just small little micro events that we hold in our facility here, usually once a week, where a youth group or a soccer team or kids will come in, and I'll share the story, or a team member will share the story, and we'll show this video, and I'll have people come up to me at the end, and they'll, with tears in their eyes, they're like, that's me and my family right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually receiving the food that Mountain Ops is donating, or it's people that say, I've been there, I understand, I'm a father as well, or I'm a mother, and we've had those struggles. And so our story's not it's not unusual, it's not uncommon. We just are responding to it in an uncommon way.
Yeah.
And it's not just me, it's our entire team. That interdependence is so important, with each of these individuals coming together with that mission just like engraved upon their heart. And that's the secret sauce here at Mountain Ops, is the individuals that have come together to carry that mission forward in a very powerful way. And it's starting to spread throughout the country, the events that we hold. And then we still have some of those funds going to Malawi, Africa, where very, very needy children and their families are learning to farm, and it's providing a resource for them to then plant a crop and harvest and sell the food that's being produced for them as well. So it's kind of an end-to-end opportunity that Operation Conquer Hunger is a part of.
That's amazing. So much positivity. And the one big takeaway I have is the way you run your organization. I think it's beautiful the way you're doing things, because it's an all-encompassing experience for the employee, the team member, because like you said, it's not compartmentalized. They don't have to go different aspects of their day to fulfill everything. They can do it all at work. And I think a big issue of a lot of people that work like a 9 to 5, they get home and they feel exhausted, they're stressed, they feel like they need to do so much for themselves. With Mountain Ops, you guys are taking care of all of that during the day. You're probably coming home feeling satisfied. You're fueled up. You're not feeling mentally drained. And I think that's such a powerful thing when you're running a team, because people would be excited to come to work. They want to do more. They want to help more people.
Yeah, they are. They're excited to be here. We all are. It's the Mountain Ops family. And then, as much as we can provide opportunities for those that have kids to bring their kids to functions here at Mountain Ops, we do. I mean, it's a family friendly environment. I've always committed to, doing things in such a way that I would always be proud that my kids could come be a part of it and know that that's what their dad is doing.
Yeah.
And so creating that environment where the family's welcome, and the family honestly is first. And one of our core values is joy, and we believe that you should have joy in the journey. So if you just stress about the 9 to 5 and then you got to do this, you're right. You exhaust your efforts, your energy. And I think, I hear people complaining about time all the time, and I'm guilty of it myself. But if we're recognizing God here at Mountain Ops as one of our core values, then I believe the God that gives us the time we have gives us the time we need. And we just struggle to prioritize. And so we exhaust our energy in so many different ways. So we have tried to take some of that guesswork and some of that, okay, how do I get to all of this? Just like you said, out of life, and bring it into one realm where we can do so much good together. So.
Awesome. I'm curious, you mentioned the book clubs. What is your current book that you guys are reading as a team together?
So Extreme Ownership
Okay.
is the one we're about to finish. And then we've got one that we just got delivered today, our new book. It's called The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey.
Nice.
And we haven't started this one yet, but the team gets divided up into 4 teams for the year. And so everyone's on a team per, one of the quarters throughout the year. And then they're assigned to take the book and lead the discussion and provide some leadership training for the team based off of what we're reading in the book. But so ownership's one of our core values. So we read, extreme ownership. Trust is one of our core values. So we're diving into that core value of trust every month. We actually have 12 core values, one for every month.
Okay,
and so at the
cool.
beginning of a month, somebody trains on that core value, issues a challenge for the month to be lived by. And then we have what we call our Conquer More challenge. And it's in 4 quadrants of life: spiritual, physical, mental, and social. And we each set a goal within each of those. And then the middle of it, it's the core value, whatever it is for the month. And and then we're assigned an accountability partner for a quarter, and we check up on each other. And by the end of the month, you have to report your accountability partners goals, whether they hit them or not. And then we have some prizes at the end of the month for everyone that hit their goals. And so it's motivating to have somebody kind of in your corner throughout the month, just pushing you, getting you to live what you've promised to do and you've committed to do, to conquer more in life. And so it's that's the culture here. It's a conquer more culture that we're really excited about what's being created and how it's transpiring or being transmitted into the community that we've built as well. So
Trevor, I think you need to take like a year to go to all the businesses in the world, in the country, and just tell them how to run a team. This is amazing. I
no,
love the culture. This is great.
the culture is what I've tried to focus on, but it's a simple culture as well. I think,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you get too wrapped up in all the business aspects of business, you can get lost in what matters most with connections to people.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'd be good at training those around the country, but our team has come together and they make up this culture, each one bringing their little piece of who they are and what they do and their strengths. And this year's kind of headline for Mountain Ops is commit to conquer,
Mm-hmm.
commit to growth, and a commitment's an investment. And so we're doing that by focusing in on the strengths. Last quarter of last year, we read a book called Strengths Finders for our book club, and it provided everyone with a test to take and then their top
Mm-hmm.
5 strengths. And so this year we're investing in those strengths. We're committing to those with each other, not trying to make their weaknesses strong, but we're instead, let's put the weakness aside right
Yeah.
now. What our team needs for growth is everyone contributing their strengths. And so we've tried to highlight those, celebrate them, and then put them to good use for each other and for the benefit of the mission here. So
Awesome. You mentioned, go back to hunger, you mentioned that 1 in 4 households in Utah, or children in Utah, don't have food over the weekend. Can you explain the magnitude of the problem of hunger in our country, our world? How bad has it gotten, and what will it take to solve this problem?
yeah, it's massive, and I'm sure I'm just scratching the surface as far as understanding and being educated. But it is a world we live in, trying to conquer hunger. 1 in 8 Americans don't have enough food on a daily basis. So that's kind of one of the statistics here in the United States. And we work with a partner called Feeding America, very well known out there, that we do provide funds to, especially in times of natural disaster and such. We'll provide funds to their food banks to be able to offer food. But one that gets me every time is, 3.1 million children die every year from malnutrition. And so that isn't necessarily here in the United States, but that is looking out abroad. And I've lived in, a third world country. I've traveled to third world countries for hunts and for humanitarian efforts, and I've seen some of this poverty. And there are a lot of children dying every year because they're just not getting the proper nutrients. And in some countries, you can't go in and just give them food. That certain foods could mess up their
Yeah.
stomachs and their digestive systems. And so that's what I love about what we're doing in Malawi, Africa. It's native to them and the food they're growing, and it works within their bodies. But then, I didn't realize what was going on right here in Utah and throughout the country until I was in those shoes. And until my kids were needing the food assistance or the help and the support that we got. And sometimes it was from neighbors and friends, and sometimes we tapped into different opportunities to go and find help. But to be able to conquer that, it's just going to take, for us here at Mountain Ops, we're doing our little part. And for us, it's one order, one meal, one child at a time. And we're
Mm-hmm.
taking it in that stride. We have a goal to hit 10 million meals by the end of 2025. And that's been on my mind for the last few years, just like the 10 million meal mark. And then from there, we'll just keep growing it. It's taken for us, people like you that are allowing us to be on this platform and sharing, creating some awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
the solution that we're providing for it is that we have supplements that are awesome for people to supplement their nutrition.
Yeah.
And every time somebody buys one of these products, it's not only doing good for them, but it's providing a meal to a child in need. That's the system we've created. And so we've been able, through those resources, to do good by people with a product that we love. We know we're confident in its ability to help people with their nutrition. And then in return, allowing that person to know that what they're doing is helping us do that. We work a lot of our distribution through the outdoor and hunting industry. When we first started Mountain Ops, I didn't understand hunting. I loved the outdoors, but I never hunted. But what intrigued me most was that I could go out on the mountain and I could bring home some protein for my family, and I could provide that. Coming off of not being able to provide to now going out and finding a way to provide on my own was very intriguing and satisfying, fulfilling as a husband and father. And so that tied in really well to this hunger issue we were talking about. And then we were supplementing. People are paying $200 a month for their supplementation while there's children here in our own communities that can only fathom one meal a day. And that was just mind boggling to me. So it's one of those things where in life you just feel called to do certain things, and it's like this is part of my purpose, and every pain has a purpose. And so I'm so grateful that my family went through what we did, because it's provided us perspective and courage and a motivation to do what we're doing now, and to surround ourselves with a team that has the same heart and soul to go after that. But until we went through it, we weren't aware of those statistics and those needs. It's going to take more people allowing us to share, more people getting involved. It's going to take donations. It's going to take more events, and it's not going to take just Conquer Hunger. It's going to take a lot more people doing their part in a similar way, or partnering with organizations like ours to just continue to expound and to bring awareness to what's going on. But the more we can get this out there, and the more business owners, entrepreneurs kind of take into consideration the resource that's being built through their business and their opportunity and their stewardship over those funds, that I just believe, this is my thought and my faith, is that these resources are not mine. And when all is said and done, I need to use them in the most appropriate way to feed God's children, to help improve lives. And we put a little card in all these packs that we send home with these kids, and I don't have one in front of me, but it basically lets them know that they were made to conquer in life, and it kind of inspires some hope and confidence. And yes, we're putting food in their belly and giving them something to eat, but more than anything, we're removing a distraction. By putting food in their belly. We remove the distraction. We inspire some hope and confidence that somebody's aware, somebody loves them, and somebody's encouraging them that they were made to conquer in life. And now they can focus in school. They can focus better on relationships, because that distraction is not just looming in their head. That's super important for me. So I think as we inspire the next generation too, coming up, that they do their part as well, and then it just continues to multiply those resources. And I would say that anyone who's iffy about like, oh, should we take that resource and give it away? Like, just like the parable with the loaves and the fishes, it comes back 12 baskets full.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed that time and time again. And so I would say, take the bigger risk and go out and do those things, because it'll bless your life, bless your business more than just about anything else.
That's amazing. Such a great calling to have for you. And what a big impact. You've already donated over 4 million meals. You're aiming for 10 million at the end of 2025. What's the next step after that? Is it 100 million meals? How can you get there?
Yeah. I mean, that would be the next step in the plan. That we've got that couple year plan to get to the 10 million. We've actually got a plan for next year to do a 1,000,000 meal day, just in one day, and packing these meals. And that's a big undertaking that we're planning out right now. And then from there, it's gaining more partnership in Operation Conquer Hunger. It doesn't have to be just a resource driven through Mountain Ops and the supplements there. Obviously, our business is scaling and it's growing quickly. So that provides a resource that we can get to that 100 million, but let's get there faster, and that'll come by way of partnerships. We were just at an event in South Carolina a couple months ago, and we held an event. An individual of a retail store that owns the store came up to us after, wrote a $34,000 check and said, "We want to be a part of Operation Conquer Hunger. Can you please bring this to Montana? And here's the funds to buy the food. We want this event to be held with all of our employees." And so it's going to be partnerships like that, where people are willing to put some money into this operation, and it all goes towards food. We cover administrative costs and everything through Mountain Ops, and we're covered there. We've got a team who loves that this infrastructure is built within the organization. So it's just those types of things that allow us to continue to scale this up and to multiply the resources along the way. So bringing team together and educating other business owners on, hey, you might have a product you're selling, and some of that resource could go towards these same efforts. Let's partner together. Yeah, it might have been founded by Mountain Ops, but this could be an initiative of 100 different businesses coming
Sure.
together, and that's kind of the vision of it all.
Yeah. Awesome. I would imagine your definition for success is different than a lot of other people and in a very good way. So, how would you define the word success?
Um, I've thought about this a lot over the years, and there's different times and moments where I'm like, that's success, and then
Mhm.
this is success. And there's different,
Yeah.
different experiences where I'm like, that's where I felt success. One of them is, and a good friend of mine always shared this with me, is success is knowing that those who know you best love you most.
Mhm.
And it took me a little while to understand what he was saying with that. And then I'm like, yeah, like through my failures, through those times of trial and everything, those who knew me best and saw the flaws and they could see the failures, they still love me most. And I think that if we can build relationships in such a way, having integrity with ourselves and our core values, and no matter what kind of success we have, if we're contributing and we're doing our part, it's not, there's no price tag, there's no value as far as how much revenue a company does or this or that. It's, if you can live with yourself and the way you are and who you are, living true to who you are, and the people that can see that and know you best, love you most, respect you most, that to me is success. And so I've got family that, they've been around me. They understand my flaws. I've got a team that understands my flaws, how simple I am. They understand sometimes the grandeur of the vision there, but and how hard it is to get there. But we respect and love each other, and that's what I want from the relationships I have in life. And I feel that way about so many people, where I can see that they're struggling to do this or that, but they are contributing in meaningful ways, and I love the heck out of them and their success in that love and respect in relationships that way. So hopefully that gives you an answer to that
Yeah.
question. But there's so much to success, but ultimately for me, like measuring success, I'll measure it by the life that I'm able to touch and be a part of, and how they touch me and inspire me. And it's relationships that matter most, and giving those time and attention that are so important and needed. So
Yeah, such a great perspective. I love that. You're able to serve a community through your business, outdoors loving individuals. You're in Utah, great place for that. And then you're also able to help people around the world with hunger. So you're able to help passion and make impact all while running a successful business. What advice would you give to someone listening to this that wants to find their passion and do it long term for a career?
yeah, that's awesome. I would probably go back to connection. And for me, it took connecting with the right individuals at the right time. And the right individuals had to be on the same value set as me. I mean, trust and transparency, honesty, those things were super important. And so I would just say, if somebody's trying, if they're setting out, find what brings you passion and joy. I don't know if you can always wrap all your daily efforts around, like, if I just love soccer, I'm going to build it. You probably
Mhm.
can, but I didn't start thinking like I love supplements and I love hunting. It was like, no, I had a passion for fueling other people's passions. I had a passion for improving lives. And so that can be a broad thing. I want to improve the lives of individuals and families. That's very broad, right? But I allowed God to guide and direct me to different opportunities, different product formulations that I could say, okay, my passion is helping people. It's improving their life. Now, this product that I hadn't even thought of, it's coming into the mix, and I allowed those doors to open. And then when it took like scaling this, for me, it takes a team and connection, and it's partnering with the right people at the right time, but with the right core values. And don't ever go against those core values. I
Mhm.
would just say use those as your guardrails, your decision making factors. We sold part of our business here at Mountain Ops to a private equity group a couple of years ago, and we had private equity knocking on our door for a couple of years, and it wasn't until this one group came in and they laid in front of me their core values.
Mhm.
And it was the first group that did that. And it might have been like the 60th group that I talked to. And it was like, here's our core values. And immediately, just by a handshake with that individual and seeing what they were all about, knowing that we were about the same things, I knew I could trust, because it was all about them valuing the values of the business and the mission, and now we could come together to enhance that mission and the vision.
Yeah.
And those connections are super important, but you have to be aligned, or else it can just steer things the wrong way. And so for individuals starting off, stay true to who you are, stay true to the values you've built your life upon, or that you're trying to build your life upon. And you don't have to go contrary to those. It'll diminish the brand effect that you as a person have in this
Mhm.
world if you go against those core values.
Yeah, great advice right there. I love that. So last week at the Mountain Ops gym, there's a big event going on. So someone we've talked about a couple of times on this podcast, Cam Haynes, mostly talked about his book that came out last summer, Endure. Cam's a badass. Love what he puts out there, all the good content. And Apple didn't fall far from the tree. His son, Truett, is a badass as well. And he, at the
Yeah.
Mountain Ops gym last week, attempted to break the Guinness World Record for pull-ups in 24 hours, a record that David Goggins once set years ago. What was that experience like, kind of working with Truett, someone that had such a big goal? Can you kind of just explain to the audience what went down there?
Yeah, and let me back up on that. Just like 3 years ago, Truett started working for us, and within
Mm-hmm.
that first month of working here, he let us know, I'm going to try to break David Goggins' record. It
Yeah.
wasn't a Guinness Book of World Record; it's just David Goggins'
Okay.
record, which was about I don't know, just over 4,000 pull-ups in a 24-hour period of time. 3 years ago, Truett broke that record of David Goggins
Mm-hmm.
by doing 4,100 pull-ups in 17 hours. And so that day, it was during COVID, not a lot of people could come, but we showed up as like families. My kids all had signs saying, "You can do it, Truett,"
It's awesome.
and just Truett, like all these different slogans that we had for him. And then about a month ago, Truett came to me and our CMO Thad and just said, "Hey, look, I'm registered to beat the world record. It's 8,100 in 24 hours. It's
Mm-hmm.
double what I did last time, and but I'm ready to give it a go." And we're so just we're so invested in Truett and his success, and we love just being a part of his journey. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. The Haynes family just have this gene in them that just pushes them to the limits. They're out to conquer, and that's what Mountain Ops is all about. So when you have somebody like a Truett Haynes here who's doing different things in life to conquer more, like, it's to be celebrated and it's to be fueled, and we're behind him all the way. And so we were excited for this event. I was there at 3:50 in the morning. The buzzer went off at 4 o'clock and he started, and that was inspiring. Just showing up, uh, just a few people there, middle of the night, and here's
Mm-hmm.
this individual in the Mountain Ops gym getting ready to put his hands up on those bar and pull himself up multiple times, during the day. And it's incredible. Like, he's put in the time and effort. And then, obviously Cam was there. A bunch of our customers come out to support him. He had thousands of people online, watching him
Mm-hmm.
go after this. And after a period of time, he was set out to do 7 a minute. And after a period of time of being in that mode, there was some fatigue, and he started to kind of slow down on the 7 to 5, and then to 4, and then to 3. And then the numbers just weren't working out in his favor to hit
Yeah.
that goal. And so ultimately he decided that this was a practice round, and he
Mm-hmm.
was going to learn. He was going to learn from it and come back stronger than the next time. But he did say, I have time to beat my own. He had
Yep.
plenty of time to beat his own personal record. And so I think he ended with 41:14 in 12 hours this time instead of 17 hours. And so
Yeah.
he just blew the roof off of that, and we're celebrating that. Yesterday we joined together as a team and had him share his experience and thoughts and things that he learned. And I'm excited that he's going to go for it again. But honestly, there's some defining moments in life where, yeah, he could have hit the goal and that would have been the accomplishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he has this defining moment where he wasn't able to get what he had planned to, but it's not stopping him. And
Yep.
he's just got this mentality of learning from what he did and now applying it to the next round. And he was willing to put himself out there in front of thousands of people, knowing there's a chance you might not succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so much of us are held back because of that knowledge that we might not make it to the
Right.
goal that we've put out there to the world. I've been that way so many times, but if we can just break through that, forget about what other people think. Like, I'm so inspired by the attempt that he made. I
Mm-hmm.
had my son there with me, he was 13 years old, and just to walk away from that and to talk to my son about, look at what he's doing. Like, look how he's putting himself out there, and he's just challenging himself physically, mentally, spiritually, like all these things, and even socially by bringing everyone into
Mm-hmm.
view. You know, there's too many of us are held back because of fear of what people might think. And honestly, I love Truett for that. That it's like, it doesn't matter. Let me learn what I learn, but I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And I was just as excited for that as I was. Obviously, I wanted him to achieve that, but he will. I'm confident he's going to
Mm-hmm.
come back and he's going to do it.
For
And
sure.
it's cool to watch the process and the progress along the way.
Yeah, it's so cool. It takes a strong person to publicly take on a
Yeah,
challenge, but also to say, like, I'm going to do it again. Even if I didn't get that goal, I'm going to go do it again. So that's really cool.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Trevor, what makes you successful, but other people not successful? What is the defining factor about you?
Um, yeah. I spoke to it a little bit earlier. I don't have all the skills in the world, and I don't think you need them. I think you need to join yourself and with others who maybe have skills that offset yours. But time and stick to itiveness, resilience, I feel like that's lost in our culture these days, where people want instant gratification and they're not willing to put off what they want today for
Mhm.
tomorrow. And I get it, like we all want things now, but I feel like what I've been able to do is let time do the hard work and just put in the effort every day, and then really find people. I think the greatest success that I've had in this business is being a part of assembling a team of individuals that are like-minded, that are united under one mission, and we're just going after it to improve the
Mhm.
lives of individuals and families. And so, but that all takes time, and as I've have felt like I've had God on my side and He's kind of directing my path. That's been important to me to find
Yeah.
success, is really finding what I'm meant to do in life, and how I'm supposed to do it in life has been critical. But just putting in the time, the effort, letting it do the
Mhm.
hard work.
Amazing. That's inspiring. Your story's inspiring, everything you're doing. So thank you so much for joining. Before we let you go, can you plug your social media, Mountain Ops, wherever you want people to find you after this?
Yeah, no, that's great. Mountain Ops is just at MTNOPS is the social media for both Instagram, Facebook. Mine's just my name, Trevor Farnes. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Just type in our name, MTNOPS.
Cool. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for joining us today. And just keep pushing forward. Love to hear your mission just come to life and impact so many people. So thank you.
Thanks, man. It was my honor. Thank you. Appreciate the time.